We see it happen every year. Teams get taken completely off the bubble and out of the tournament because of bid stealers. Is West Virginia going to have a bid stealer this season? Hopefully not. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia. Thanks for joining today, guys, as we talk West Virginia hoops, brought to you by FanDuel. Today's episode is going to be brought to you by FanDuel, where customers can get $200 in bonus bets. That's if you win that first $5 bet. Head to FanDuel.com to get started today. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team every single day. So West Virginia's already dodged one bullet today. That's the first thing about this that, I was going to go in the middle of the game because it was really close. George Mason almost pulling, and I don't know if you consider this an upset. It's to 1 versus 2. I guess it is based on seeding, but George Mason not in that large team at 26-8, close. Got to get to around that 28-29 mark before you're really starting to push the at-large from the mid-major standpoint. So they're at 26-8. They will most likely be left out. They needed to win versus VCU today. VCU, most considered, I think, in, and now they stay in with the tournament win. So one less team to worry about to push West Virginia off the bubble, as Joe Lunardi has West Virginia as one of his last 4 byes, which is on the bubble, with Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Utah State. Vanderbilt, San Diego State, Indiana, Xavier last 4 in. Certainly, there would have been teams ahead of West Virginia to be taken off the bubble, but the less it can shrink, the less that you can leave this thing up to chance for West Virginia, the better. Hello, Morgantown. Hello, Dingus, West Virginia. Shout out to the hometown. Thank you guys for listening on podcast, by the way. And sometimes I look at the chat and I see some people from home, Dingus, West Virginia, where I'm from, saying, hey. So always proud of where I'm from. So UAB right now is up on Memphis. This is the other game today. They're up 27-23 with 4 minutes to go in the first half. This is a pretty good Memphis team, and one that West Virginia has been projected to possibly go against if they were to get into the tournament. And so this is going to be an interesting game. And if you have, Andy Kennedy and those guys have been good for a long time. They're 22-11. They're not in that large team, but they're that team. They're always there every year in the conference race. So certainly you could see them possibly winning this game today and shrinking that bubble. That'd be a stealing it from somebody. Maybe it's us. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. And also on today's episode, guys, football scrimmage standouts. You're not going to want to miss it. I got the deets, baby. We've got some guys shining in practice, even though they won't tell you about it. I will. And there are some guys on this list that we ain't heard from yet that get me excited, baby, because there's some guys that are really showing their stuff. Oh, I can't wait to talk about this. I'm so excited. We got some dudes. Let's just say we got some dudes in football. So even if basketball maybe goes to hell in a handbasket, who knows what will happen if we don't make the tournament, or if we do, or if DeVries stays, or if he don't. We only got a few more months until football kicks off, and all of our fears go away for just a little while, even if it's just for a few games. I know they're not going to win the national championship next year, but I'll tell you what, man, it's exciting to see Rich Rod back on the sidelines, patrolling it, playing our brand of ball that we feel proud of. So let's talk basketball for now, though, before I get off on a tangent. So Joe Lunardi, like I said, West Virginia, probably at a 10-11 seed, most likely, which is going to put you against a team that's pretty dang good, right? Whether that be a 5 or a 6, possibly not a 5. You have to be a 12 to play a 5. But at an 11, you play a 6. So it's a ton of different ways it could go for West Virginia at this point in time. We will keep monitoring that. And And just to look at another one, Jerry Palm has West Virginia a little bit further on the bubble than even Lunardi does, having us in the play-in game. So I think this could range from play-in game to where we'll be in Dayton here in a couple of days playing against one of these teams to solidly in just right off that first 4 byline. So it's a little hairy for West Virginia right now. And I got to be honest, I wonder where our heads are, because I think, we know that Javon Small wanted to play in an NCAA tournament game. That's one of his biggest dreams. And I would hate to see that shatter for him, man, because there's one player in college basketball that deserves to have the bid taken away from him unless it's Javon freaking Small. And then, there is going to be speculation about the whispers, because anytime you have a coach that is having whispers around him, like Darren DeVries is right now, people are going to speculate about the health of the team and the mentality of the team and if they are together as a team, right? I think they're going to do a good job, Coach DeVries and company, of keeping that reined in. But certainly it is fair to talk about. It's a fair conversation to have. And I think West Virginia is going to be okay for the record. I do think we will land on that, probably in that 11 line, maybe 10 if we're lucky. Certainly not 9, but it could happen because we've got a good resume. There's a couple other teams that we were kind of going head-to-head with there. You've got the North Carolina, you have the Arkansas, you have the Oklahoma, you got Cincinnati in our own conference. That was kind of – Cincinnati could have been us. And there are some people that say Cincinnati could be us, and we are – and some people people are seeing that wrong. Excuse me. But the head-to-head win over Cincinnati twice has kind of given us the edge here. So I do believe that myself, and am looking forward to the day when we finally just can look at this tonight, because I will be doing a video right after we go right after they pick the seeds. I'm going to look at the region. I'm going to look at the opponents. We're going to get on here and talk about it. That's a couple hours away, 6 o'clock. As soon as this UAB game goes final, that's the last marking of the pencil. Is it going to be pencil or eraser for West Virginia? Ooh, that's a good headline. Pencil or eraser, because and I think in headlines, these days for West Virginia. So is the Mountaineers going to get the pencil or the eraser based on how this game goes? Even though it's probably not that serious, West Virginia probably solidly in. There are other teams that certainly deserve to get in less, right? So I'm feeling good about it, guys. Let me know how you feel in the comments. I certainly would love to hear from you as we go along today. Let's talk some football next, guys. I think Mountaineers are going to be fine. Like I said, we've gone over the 2 teams that can knock West Virginia out. One has already lost today. Thank goodness. George Mason, 68-63, loses to VCU. And as of right now, UAB, which would be a bid stealer, up 30-26 on Memphis in the first half. So we'll see what happens here. Obviously, Memphis is trying to improve its seeding. I expect them to play hard. But we're just in wait-and-see mode for now. Obviously, we have the rumors surrounding the program, but we can't really do anything about that. I'll address those after the tournament because nothing else is going to happen. If there's any updates, we'll talk about it. But there's no need to take the focus off this team and what they're trying to do. They can still do something special if they can just get in. Javon Small can take you far, even if it's just Sweet 16 or something like that. That would be one amazing season. Let's go to break. Talk about football. Man, I've got the numbers from the scrimmage they had in pads. What was it on Friday? Freaking impressive, man. We got some guys balling out in Morgantown. We'll be right back to talk about it. Stick around. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by Factor Meals. We love Factor. Eating healthy doesn't have to be complicated because with Factor, you get chef-made, dietitian-approved meals that are ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, so you can fuel your body without the hassle of cooking. Factor meals arrive fresh and never frozen with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences each week. You can customize your menu to fit your diet goals, whether that's Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or keto. Convenience does meet nutrition in this case, and personally, I love how Factor keeps you on track with healthy, delicious meals without the time-consuming prep, the cutting, the packaging, the whole thing. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/Factor podcast and use Factor podcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code Factor Podcast at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. And of course, we can't forget about our friends at Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made with the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 top brands, you're going to find exactly what you need, and it's going to be delivered fast from coast to coast, kind of like Javon Small when he goes coast to coast, baby. Need help with an order? Supply House has expert support and industry-leading services, guys, so you'll always talk to a real person, not some automated system. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, or like Rich Rod, a hard edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every single order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage of this, guys, and now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code S-5-H for 5% off your first order. Do it today at supplyhouse.com. And we're back here in segment 2. Let's crack a do. What do you think about it? I guess I should take this banner down here, huh? I thought I clicked the button. Guess I didn't. There it goes. Let's crack us a do really quick. Let's gather ourselves. Let's take a quick break here. Just take 2 seconds. And let's talk about it, man. So I got the intel. I got the handy dandy trusty dusty notebook here with notes on the scrimmage that were full pads on a Friday, I believe it was, maybe been Thursday. What you want to call this, spring standouts or whatever. These are guys that perform well, have been performing well in some cases all spring long. Some of these guys have performed well just in the practice the other day. Specifically, one guy really had a great day. So let's get into it. Both quarterbacks continue to play well. Certainly there are mistakes being made. That's going to happen. But in the context of a first-year offense, learning a new system, Jalen Henderson, Nico Marchiol are cut above the rest. It's just it is what it is. It's what I'm told, that they're really crushing it right now. Especially Nico, apparently he made some really nice throws in the scrimmage. Jalen Henderson has some people he's hooking up with. Nico's hooking up with some different people. So they're both kind of forging their own little relationships with different guys. And I'm not going to give it away yet, but a couple of these specific people are on this list. So let's move to defense for one. Justin Harrington, who's wearing number 8 right now, had a pick and made a ton of plays yesterday in the back end. Guys, this is huge for our defense. Justin Harrington played at Oklahoma. We know that. The starter on that 2023 defense, it was much maligned, right? A lot of those guys had to go elsewhere because of various reasons. Unfortunately for Harrington, he blew a knee out, I think it was. Ended up at Washington where he didn't play a ton last year. Still rehabbing, still had some mental stuff from what I'm told with the knee. Now feels 100%. And is making plays on the back end, which is big for us because I've said this multiple times. If he can play like 2023 Justin Harrington, our back end secondary has a chance to be really, really good because he's just flat out the kind of athlete we don't always get. This is a guy that's border 5-star talent, definitely solid 4-star talent, and a guy that has a lot of range, a lot of athletic ability. He looks like a linebacker. I mean, he really does. He's probably 230 pounds. He's a big kid. He was making plays on the back end yesterday, specifically an interception. Wide receiver Gerard Bowie, number 25, man. Cooking people, I'm told, in the routes. Doing really well. Destroyed William Davis, who is another transfer we had yesterday. And actually, that's on video. If you go and watch the video that West Virginia put out, Gerard Bowie destroyed a couple cats in route running and is doing some work, man. There's a reason they brought him along to Morgantown from Jack State when they could have got other guys. It's not like they didn't have the money. So Gerard Bowie, and I'm telling you, man, go and looking back at some of his stuff, this is a West Virginia kid. And look, I like him, man. I think he's got a chance here in the slot, maybe outside, anywhere, wherever he can get in where you fit in, man. I think he's got a chance. Nick Gabriel really making plays for West Virginia on the defensive line, I'm told. Had a good day in practice the other day and is really plugging that thing up, doing really well. And we saw this last year, right? Whenever he wasn't 100% in shape, but he's getting there this year. And if he can get all the way in shape, he's got the potential. He was just a baby last year, a freshman, and he had a really good, especially back end of the year. He really came on strong at the defensive tackle spot. And here he is again, making plays in practice, stuffing the line of scrimmage. And so that's really cool to see. Somebody that Jalen Henderson's hooked up with a couple times, Greg Genros, I'm told, the big tight end that we all have hopes for, really looking good. They've got him wearing number 82, and he was making plays over Michael Coach Jr., I'm told, in practice. Excuse me. So that's exciting. I really do like to hear that. Greg Genros is a guy that we all know, if he is anywhere near what his capabilities are as an athlete, it gets to be really exciting because this dude athletically is an insane athlete. We know that. He's just had a lot to learn. Look for Greg Genros to make an impact this year, possibly. Derek Carter Jr., man, number 13, really playing well. I was told he made some big plays. He had to guard Cam Vaughn on a couple different plays. And they battled yesterday, and the two of them, Nico really loves Cam Vaughn, apparently, I'm told, and they hooked up quite a bit this offseason. But Derek Carter Jr. do that assignment yesterday, and I'm told he played well, held up well against the best receiver from Jack State last year. Maybe that goes back to their time at Jack State together and knowing each other a little bit better. But, hey, man, there's some players on this list that I wasn't expecting to see. And look, of course, this is only – a couple different players' opinions, right? It's not like I'm talking to the coaches. But I do think the players know just as well as the coaches do in a lot of cases, right? And they're going to be more honest with me. Because I know these guys by now, and I know that there's no haterade going on here. I know that there's no jealousy going on here. It's just straight up, hey, man, this dude looks really good, right? On the offensive line, I continue to be told that Xavier Bosley continues to play well. And that makes me excited, right? I love hearing that. Kimbo Makiniole is another guy that apparently has looked good at times. Walter Youngbear has had some moments too. And so I do think the offensive line can come together. I don't think I think it's a matter of when. I do think they're going to add guys here in the spring portal. From what I'm told, I do have a belief that they're going to add, if they can get some guys with more experience. I think that's what Rich Rod wants. And I'm just basing that off his press conferences. You listen to him in his press conferences, and I really do believe he is, not, I don't want to say unhappy, but I do think he's a little perturbed with the lack of experience on the O-line, and he's mentioned it a few times. Look for the spring portal period to see if they add any people, because that's going to be super interesting. I see somebody in the comments asking about the women NCAA tournament. I will be doing a video about that. I just have to time it right. I'm probably going to it'll be in a video simultaneously with the men's, and then as we get moving along, if they win a game or two, I can probably do a couple just plain out videos on the women. But we're not exactly Iowa. There isn't a ton of interest in the women. I've done a few videos on just the women. They haven't done as well as I would hope they would. I love covering them. I watched almost every game this year, but unfortunately, that's just in the views department for me. I have to be kind of strategic with that. So what I'll do is I will cover the women tonight at 6 whenever we have our seedings done. I'll cover them in their update as well. So thanks for asking that question, by the way. Let's go to a quick break. We'll come back. We'll kind of recap everything we talked about. Definitely want to talk about West Virginia one more time in basketball and the seeding going on there and some other things. We'll stick around, guys. We'll be right back. This is Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia also going to be brought to you by FanDuel. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never, ever before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly. No waiting around. So you must visit FanDuel.com today and get in on all the hoops action, and make sure you do it all tournament long. All right, guys, thanks for joining this episode of Locked On West Virginia. Obviously, we talked about the men and exactly what needs to happen for them. We've already had one terrific result today. George Mason loses not even a half an hour ago to VCU 68-63. That's one potential bid stealer out of there, out of the way for West Virginia, for Oklahoma, for Arkansas, for other teams like that were firmly on the bubble. Thankfully, we're in a good spot here. I think we're going to be all right. Even if UAB pulls this off, I don't think West Virginia is the team that you say is the one that's out. I don't think that at all. I think you look at an Arkansas, maybe in Oklahoma, before you do a West Virginia. That's just my opinion. But we all need to be Memphis Tigers fans in the second half, as that game is UAB 35, Memphis 32 at the half. Certainly would love to see Memphis win that game. And then, look, you're in, right? You're pretty much in there. Nothing too much to worry about. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I definitely don't want it to any extra drama added. I think these boys, we know it. They deserve to be in. And I think that all they've gone through this year, this is just what needs to happen. And here's the other parts of this. I'll say the quiet part out loud. We don't want Darren DeVries to just be available when nobody else is. That gives them time to talk. That gives them time to possibly formulate a plan as Iowa, because we know, I mean, it's out there. He's the number one choice. It's out there. Every Iowa site you read says this. Doesn't mean he'll go, but I don't want Darren DeVries to just be available. It's not fun. That doesn't sound fun to me. I would rather be in the tournament, just like last year when we were picking coaches, we couldn't, okay, for instance, whenever we were going to interview Andy Kotelnicki, most people think he would have got the West Virginia job, but he had to play in that thing called the cultural playoff first. West Virginia, under pressure, didn't have time to wait. They had to pick somebody. Time was running out. Portal was open. Same thing here. We don't want to be the job that's open for Iowa to come saying, hey, what's up, Darren? We want to be in the tournament as deep as we can go, because they're going to be forced. They're going to feel some pressure to make a choice. Maybe McCollum's the guy, maybe somebody else. So, that's just my thoughts on it as the fan that gets scared of losing our coach. It's happened so many times. We've seen it with Rich Rod and Beeline. We've seen it even with Dana to a certain extent. We don't want these problems. We just want to play ball. We want our coaches. We want the guys we got in the room to succeed. We don't want nobody else. So that's just where I'm at with it. I did reach out to people on the other side of that. But let's just say they're being quiet right now. And I understand that, even though they've given up, some information to me and things throughout the year. I understand that there's certain people that you have to protect. So I can't quite get to some sources on this one that I wish I could. They're kind of keeping quiet. So I wish they'd just tell me you're going to be fine, but I don't think anybody knows at this point. I don't think anybody knows. I don't even know if Darren DeVries knows yet. I think he's got a lot to think about, and he can't think about that. You got way too much other stuff going on, right? How could you, if you're Darren DeVries, focus on anything else but this tournament? You know what I mean? So it's just where it's at. So Thanks for joining, guys. We'll be back on at 6, right after they announce the seeding. We'll cover the men. We'll cover where the women are at. And we'll talk about the region, the team that West Virginia is going to play, everything. It's going to be a fun time. And if West Virginia, for God awful, some crazy reason gets left out, we'll react to that too and won't be happy about it. So let's see what happens, guys. Have a great couple hour wait until this is over with. Let's be Memphis fans until that game's over. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Have a great day. And I'm out of here.